Jojo Siwa is one of the internet's loudest personalities who, up until very recently, has always made content for kids and was known for her kids' merchandise empire. You could get Jojo Siwa hair bows, Jojo Siwa hair brushes, notebooks, backpacks, dolls, chapsticks, karaoke machines, smartwatches, Jojo Siwa ice cream, Jojo Siwa roller skates, Jojo Siwa neck pillows, Jojo Siwa worldwide party Nintendo Switch game. In a few years there will be landfills dedicated just to old Jojo Siwa merch. But now, in 2024, she has done a 180 from her pink rainbow unicorn brand and has become the subject of a viral hate campaign for attempting to reinvent herself into her bad girl era.
This moment of making it very clear that we are going from child star to adult artist is very important to me. And I have wanted to take my time to make sure this moment is as perfect as possible.
Karma's a bitch! But this is not the first time that Jojo Siwa has been under public scrutiny, and many people think that the whole Bad Girl Karma release has been timed to distract from a potential PR disaster that was bubbling under the surface. Jojo's journey in the public eye has been full of dramatic rises and falls, from cringe kids culture to coming out and having a redemption arc to a new look in an attempt to appeal to an older audience as she enters her 20s. It's your Uncle Herman here. I am still an alpha male, and today let's look at the history of Jojo Siwa's controversial public image and why everybody online suddenly loves to hate her once again. For a lot of people, Jojo Siwa appeared out of nowhere, but she has been primed to be a child star since she was just 2 years old, when her mother started bleaching her hair blonde and entering her into dance competitions, eventually moving her to Los Angeles for auditions.
You know, your hair is getting really dark. We're gonna need to lighten this up.
I have been dyeing my hair since I was like 2, maybe 1.5. I'm not a natural blonde, I'm actually a natural brown. I get brown roots, so I have to dye it so it looks like I'm a natural blonde.
Abby can't say we didn't go all out.
For Dance Moms fans, she was the kid that came in season 4 and changed the dynamic of the show with her loud personality. Now, Dance Moms was an insane show.
Hit on the children! Cause you're an idiot!
Each week, the dancers would enter dance competitions, and the show focused on the overbearing stage mums and their kids all getting into fights about whose kid was in the spotlight that week. It also became infamous for Abby Lee Miller's incredibly harsh treatment of the kids who were as young as 5 years old. If you want to hear more about the Dance Moms lore, I highly recommend Tony Brianne's video on the topic, but basically what you need to know for this video is that Jojo Siwa got her start by placing 5th on the Dance Moms spin-off show Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, which she competed in at 9 years old. Following this show, in 2015, she was then introduced with her mum, Jesselyn Siwa, to the main show, Dance Moms. And immediately they were the people that viewers were supposed to hate because Jojo was framed as loud, abrasive, overconfident, and a threat to the other girls. Of all the dancers on Dance Moms, aside from fan favourite Maddie Ziegler, Jojo is one of, if not the biggest success story to come off the show. Although the girls on the show were dancers first, they were also encouraged to use their newfound reality show fame to become singers, actors, and basically do all that they could to solidify their careers as early as possible. And Jojo and her mum went all out and built the Jojo Siwa empire. Jojo was on Dance Moms as an official member of Abby Lee's dance company for 2 seasons, from 2015 to 2016, when she was 12, going on 13. Before long, videos like Jojo Siwa's rudest moments were racking up tens of millions of views on YouTube, and it's wild looking back knowing that the producers were pulling the strings behind the scenes, making viewers hate this 12-year-old kid. And a lot of viewers really did hate Jojo. It's a lot to put on a child, and it's no surprise that Jojo Siwa is the way that she is, considering she was thrown into this world of public scrutiny at such a young age and was being judged on her behaviour and personality rather than what she was there for in the first place, which was her dance ability. She was bullied by the other kids, the other mums, and by Abby Lee Miller, and this bullying was encouraged, filmed, and then televised, which is a torturous thing to put a child through, in my opinion. And I should mention, Jojo was not the only one bullied on the show. Pretty much every kid on that show was bullied at some point. It also baffles me that her mother could have put her through all of this for the sake of the opportunity of dancing on the show. Surely no opportunity is worth your child going through that. She even says on the show that she hates the way that Abby Lee Miller treats Jojo, and it's honestly wild that the show even aired in the first place. In 2016, Jojo released her first song, Boomerang. The video featured dancers from Dance Moms and was referenced on the show, with the mums fighting over which of their daughters got to be in the music video. The video went viral and currently has nearly 1 billion views, firmly establishing Jojo as a performer with wide appeal. special. The kids loved it, and the teens and the young adults loved to hate and cringe at it, and suddenly everyone had heard of this kid, and in 2017, when she was just 14 years old, she signed with Nickelodeon and entered her Nickelodeon child star era, making appearances on their TV shows and releasing songs and merch under the Nickelodeon label. Now, Dance Moms stopped airing in 2019, 3 years after JoJo and many of the other original dance troupe left, and as the dancers grew into young adulthood and reflected upon their experiences on the show, a lot of them spoke openly about the trauma that it had caused them. JoJo, on the other hand, has said that she is very grateful for her time on the show and the way that it launched her career, and has since got in hot water with her ex-co-stars. For example, Brooke, who was a dancer on the show from seasons 1 to 4, posted a TikTok video of her reacting to getting Abby Lee Miller as a suggested Facebook friend. JoJo commented on the video saying, "It's one thing to just not add her back, it's another to post it," which many took as an unnecessary and passive-aggressive comment on a fairly harmless post. JoJo repeated this same sentiment in the upcoming Dance Moms reunion, where she called out Maddie and Mackenzie Ziegler for not coming to the reunion, implying that in doing so, they're not recognizing where they came from and the show that gave them their careers.
Them not being here is kind of like, let me erase my past, pretend it never happened, shove it down the drain, when it's like, that's why you are who you are.
Maddie Ziegler had a famously intense relationship with Abby Lee Miller and has stated her own reasons for not speaking to her anymore, whereas JoJo seems to remain a staunch Abby Lee defender and seems to think that because she can still be grateful for the Dance Moms experience means that everyone should be grateful, which did not sit well with fans of the show. People also pointed out that JoJo and her mum joined the show after 3 seasons of it had already aired, so they knew what they were getting into. They admitted that they'd watched the show. JoJo was arguably too young to fully understand it, but her mum certainly knew that this was a reality show and was more than just a show about dancers, whereas the other dancers on the show at the time had been there from day one and therefore didn't really know the full extent of what they were signing up for when the show began. And so compared to a lot of the dancers, JoJo did have a very different experience. Plus, she was only there for a short amount of time when others had been there for 6 or 7 years. In January 2023, JoJo posted a TikTok with clips of her being shouted at, belittled and bullied on Dance Moms, with the caption, "When people hate to try and hurt me, but this was my childhood." So although she does acknowledge here that she was hurt by her experiences on Dance Moms, she doesn't seem to regret it. Either that, or she's still wrapped up in this world that she hasn't yet reached a point where that kind of traumatic experience rises up to the surface. She has since posted many times about how glad she is that she had the experience and the fame and money that it's clearly provided her, and continues to speak about how upsetting it is that she's one of the few who are still grateful towards Abby Lee Miller.
Abby is Abby, and you get yourself involved with Abby. You either go to Abby's studio, you work for Abby. Abby doesn't just go pick up people off the street and be like, "You're working for me." That's not how it works. You go to Abby. You know what you're getting into. And it makes me really, really, really upset that I am one of the few. There's only a few people that really, truly thank Abby and are thankful and grateful for what she's done for us, because without her, no one, Dance Moms wouldn't be a thing without Abby, and without that, none of us would have a career.
In 2020, JoJo got into a feud with former dance mom Christy Lukasiak, mother of Chloe, who was a dancer on the show from seasons 1 to 4. Christy was asked on a live stream if she kept in touch with Dance Moms choreographer Gianna Martello, to which Christy simply says no, Gianna's not nice. This prompted JoJo to make a TikTok calling her out and defending Gianna.
I never like to comment on things or get involved in things that don't involve me, but this, I just have to say, this just came up on my For You page, and that is absolutely the most disgusting and ignorant thing that I have heard anybody say. First of all, Gia is one of the sweetest people in the whole world, and second of all, she works so hard every single week for so many people, including Chloe. She had one of the most stressful jobs on the show. She was in charge of choreographing every single number. Now, yes, of course, everyone has their moments and everyone isn't nice 24/7, including you, Christy. But the thing is you don't need to say that somebody is not a nice person. I'm sure you're a very nice person, even though the experience that I've had with you, you were not nice to me. You actually made a very rude comment to me, but it may have just been a moment. You don't need to say that people are not nice people. I would never say that you're not a nice person just because our moment you were rude to me. It's just not what you do.
Christy responded saying that she had no idea what JoJo's experience on the show was like, but that she and her daughter had a bad experience. This all seems like very small and petty drama, but a lot of Dance Moms fans defended Christy, saying that JoJo had no right to call her out and challenge her experience with a person, whilst other people, including Abby Lee Miller, praised JoJo for defending Gianna. Then, in June 2020, JoJo got into further hot water upon the release of her music video, Non-Stop. The video featured Dance Moms dancer Liliana Ketchman dressed as a monkey in what some people online defined defined as offensive and bordering on blackface. The video was also released on Juneteenth, a significant holiday that celebrates African American liberation from slavery, making it particularly tone deaf. Not only that, but around the same time, people were angry that Jojo continued to defend Abby Lee Miller in spite of racism allegations coming out against her, allegedly telling Cameron Smith, who was only 7 years old at the time, the only reason that she was part of Abby's dance team was for a sprinkle of colour. Jojo then started deleting comments that mentioned the alleged racism and posted a caption saying, "People are bossing me around, telling me who to follow, what to post, what to like, what to say, what to do, everything. It's not about what you do on social media, it's about what you do in real life." She then went on to say that people commenting were hating on her, and people were pretty upset that Jojo never really issued a formal apology for this. And so then she put a further paragraph on her Instagram saying, "I would like to address the music video that we shot for Non-Stop in February. We're talking about kids dressing up as circus animals. No one in my video is wearing blackface. It's awful that anyone's mind would even go there." Whilst this was enough for some, others have still not forgiven Jojo for continuing to support Abby Lee Miller in spite of all the allegations that came out against her around this time. The next controversy that I want to talk about is kind of a silly one, but in early January 2021, Jojo had to make a public apology after her board game Jojo's Juice got pulled from the shelves. This was so funny to me because obviously Jojo herself has no idea half the merch that her face gets slapped onto, but this board game was hailed by parents as inappropriate and disturbing due to the question cards asking the players questions like, "Have you ever walked in on someone naked, or had someone walk in on you, or have you ever gone outside without underwear? A bathing suit doesn't count." And the board game was aimed at children aged 6 and up. It's so funny to me that Jojo had to apologize for some questions that some adults in a boardroom clearly came up with, but she had to post an apology on TikTok for the game, and after this it was no longer in production.
My name and my image have been used to promote this board game that has some really inappropriate content. Now, when companies make these games, they don't run every aspect by me, and so I had no idea of the types of questions that were on these playing cards. Now, when I first saw this, I was really upset at how gross these questions were, and so I brought it to Nickelodeon's attention immediately. And since then, they have been working to get this game stopped being made and also pulled from all shelves wherever it's being sold. I hope you all know that I would have never, ever approved or agreed to be associated with this game if I would have seen these cards before they started selling it.
This was one of Jojo's last controversies before she started to change her image. We can see that she was still very much dressing super young and colourful like a life-size doll. At this point, she was 17 and still very much at the behest of parents of her young fans. Everything that she was doing, the way she was dressing and speaking, was to appeal to kids and their parents. But all of that was about to change later in 2021 when Jojo came out as gay. In late January 2021, Jojo posted a TikTok lip-syncing to the song Born This Way by Lady Gaga, starting public speculation that she may be part of the LGBT community. This video was then followed up by a tweet that read, "My cousin got me a new shirt," and a picture of the shirt in question that said, "Best gay cousin ever," confirming that she was, in fact, the gay cousin. She later said she doesn't really want to use a particular label for her sexuality, but identifies with words like pansexual, queer, and gay. Now, this marked a huge turn for Jojo's image. It was controversial for a lot of Christian BBBB mums, and by BBBB I of course mean Bo's Barbie's Bible Belt, who suddenly found out that their little girly girl daughter's role model was queer, and they were not happy about it. Whilst Jojo gained support from older fans and from queer celebrities who were excited for her to embark on this new chapter, she was no longer the good straight Christian girl that a lot of parents were comfortable with their child looking up to, and she was no longer the puppet that had to make apology TikToks for upset parents that she was at the start of the year. She slowly transitioned into a new look, cutting her hair so that she was no longer doing the bows and the high ponytails and wearing slightly more muted outfits. Only slightly though. She was still catering her image and output towards kids, but this was more for TikTok preteens rather than 5-year-olds. And so her hero arc began as older teenagers and young adults suddenly started praising her for being a positive role model in the LGBT community. In 2022, Jojo was not invited to the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. This was the first Kids' Choice Awards since her coming out, and a lot of people rallied behind Jojo, calling Nickelodeon out for not inviting one of their biggest stars the year that she comes out, especially since she was nominated for the Favorite Social Music Star Award that year, an award that she'd won twice already in 2019 and 2020. Nickelodeon responded saying that her not getting an invite was an honest mistake, but this didn't stop people from suspecting foul play. 2021 and 22 saw Jojo Siwa gaining the public's affection for being a young, queer person in the public eye, and most, if not all, of her media attention came from the internet getting behind her and defending her against homophobia. She left her image of cringeworthy child star behind and quietly reinvented herself, and it was all going so well until last year when things started to shift and people were annoyed at her once again. Last summer, Jojo posted on her Snapchat story a picture of her bloated, joking that she was pregnant, and social media went mad speculating that she was actually pregnant. This isn't the first time that people have started rumors that Jojo was pregnant after she posted photos showing her stomach, and so this time Jojo decided to start trolling and run with the rumors, posting a follow-up photo asking her followers team boy or team girl. But it didn't stop there. She then started posting a series of Snapchat stories and videos of her shopping for baby clothes, showing her stomach, leaning into the rumors, and pretending that her friend Ezra Sosa was the baby daddy, and then after about 20 stories revealed that it was all a prank. But a lot of people were not happy, saying that it was insensitive to fake a pregnancy when many people struggle to conceive. This came after she'd also faked an engagement post that confused her fans further. Also around this time, grooming allegations were coming out against Colleen Ballinger, a longtime friend of Jojo's who's done many video collaborations with her on YouTube, and Jojo stood by her, later going on Howie Mandel's podcast to fully defend Colleen.
Yeah,
What do you say about that?
I've known Colleen for since I was 12.
And
she's always been nothing but kind to me. Her family, nothing but kind to me. The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
Fans were mad at Jojo for defending Colleen in this way, seeing the irony in her defending an adult who she has known since she was 12 years old, and for Jojo to blame it all on cancel culture was really disheartening. Now, when Jojo was 12, Colleen was 29. Can a 29-year-old really call themselves a friend to a 12-year-old? A babysitter, sure, but not a friend. Jojo was literally shipped with Colleen's sister Rachel, a woman in her 30s who is 12 years older than Jojo. She was double her age, and nobody bat an eyelid until the allegations started to come forwards. I think that Jojo possibly doesn't realize how weird her relationship with the Ballingers has been. Jojo also remained close with James Charles, another influencer with similar allegations against him, and people are seeing a pattern of Jojo sticking by people just because they're nice to her and ignoring widespread allegations against them. So now we get to the girlfriend drama. If you are a member of the blessed LGBT community, you will know that there is no love triangle like a lesbian love triangle. A 1-month lesbian relationship can carry enough drama for a lifetime, and Jojo Siwa and her ex-girlfriend are no exception. In January 2021, when Jojo Siwa came out, she announced that she was in a relationship, but did not reveal who it was until a month later when she posted a picture with Kylie Prue, known as Kai. They dated publicly for 10 months before revealing in November 21 that they'd broken up. Then, in March 2022, Jojo revealed that she was dating someone else, but then was spotted later that year in May back with Kai. The pair got back together and dated for 1 month before breaking up again. Then, in September 2022, Jojo revealed that she was dating TikTok star Avery Cyrus, shortly after Avery had broken up with her girlfriend, Soph. They dated for 2 months, and this is where things start to get a bit messy. Jojo was filmed by her mother pacing around in a hotel room, shouting that she had been played, that someone had told her that they loved her, but instead were using her for views and clout, and people speculated that this was about Avery.
Why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Because I got used.
For what?
For views.
Aww.
And for clout. And I got tricked into being told that I was loved. And I got played.
Why her mother filmed her in this state and posted it for everyone to see is questionable. But nonetheless, whilst Jojo was busy spreading the narrative that she had been played by Avery, Avery seemed to have a different story involving Jojo getting back in touch with her ex, Kai, after seeing her at a concert. At this time, Kai was also in a new relationship, but when they saw each other at a Fletcher concert in Los Angeles, pretty soon their respective relationships had ended and Jojo and Kai were talking again. Avery posted a TikTok that was pretty obviously about Jojo, saying that after the concert, she'd been broken up with over voice memo.
One time me and my girlfriend at the time were at this concert and then her ex shows up. So she decides to go start talking to her ex. Her ex is so into the conversation, she's like leaning over the rail like, oh my god, I heard she's gonna play the song that's on her Smiley Face album. Me and her girlfriend are just sitting there like, I don't really think anything of it until the next morning when my girlfriend at the time was like, I think I should text my ex and let her know that there's no bad blood between us. Like what? Obviously I was stressed out, but I was like, okay, I guess that's valid. She shows me the text and sends it and then goes to work out. I'm working on her computer and then text messages pop up when she's downstairs. Turns out she sent more messages, something along the lines of, oh, I still have the thing you gave me when we first met. And the ex's response, keep in mind she had a girlfriend at the time, was the pet name that they used to call each other, and oh, I still have that too, and I also have the ring that you gave me. So I went downstairs and I told her I saw them. She's like, I won't respond. Fast forward 3 days later, she dropped me off at the airport to go home, and as soon as I walked through my front door, she sends me a voice memo breaking up with me through voice memo. I was freaking distraught. I was not expecting it even a little bit.
People started speculating that Jojo had cheated on Avery with Kai, and the more time passed, the more bad blood there seemed to be on Avery's side, with her posting long storytime TikTok videos detailing a toxic relationship that she was in, which many speculate to be about Jojo. When Jojo's new song Karma dropped recently, which I will go into in more detail later, people thought that the lyrics were about her relationship with Avery, taking a dig at her, which only made people dislike Jojo more, as it seemed like she was the one who strayed from the relationship first by getting back with her ex. Now, of all Jojo Siwa's controversies, the Leigha Sanderson allegations that have surfaced are amongst the most serious. In a Rolling Stone article published earlier this year, it was alleged that Jojo and her mother Jesselyn had created a toxic environment on their reality show dance competition, much like the one that they had suffered through on Dance Mums. Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution is a reality show where Jojo and her mum pit girls against each other, eliminating one each week until they are left with their next singing and dancing girl group, which they call XOMG Pop. This group is made up of girls between 10 and 14 years old who are all being bred to be the next Jojo Siwa. I think this show is basically trying to create a younger group that Jojo Siwa fans under 13 can be obsessed with, so that Jojo can leave those days of catering to young children behind and graduate to being in her 20s whilst this group takes over that demographic. Now, if Jojo has learned anything from her peers, you would think it would be that putting young children into competitive dance reality shows can be incredibly traumatic. But it would seem that Jojo and her mother are simply recreating the Dance Mums experience for the next generation. Leigha Sanderson is one of the members of XOMG Pop, and she and her mother spoke to Rolling Stone about their experience on the show, alleging that the Siwas subjected the children to grueling rehearsals, sometimes foregoing school breaks with meager compensation. They also say that Sanderson was forced to work under intense physical duress, with Jesselyn encouraging her to attend a video shoot just a few weeks after she underwent spinal cord surgery. In one instance, just days before the surgery, they alleged that Leigha started bleeding through her belly button during a rehearsal for a performance at the Children's and Family Emmys, which was hosted by Jojo. Rather than encourage her to take a break, the Sandersons say that Jesselyn told her to put a maxi pad on it so it wouldn't leak onto her costume. Leigha also reported that Jojo and her mother were nasty on set, calling the girls names, insulting them, and pitting them against each other. Leah's mother, Angie, says that she is the only person to speak out because she's the only one who didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement. But 3 other original members of the group have left under obscure circumstances, which has raised a few eyebrows. I recommend reading the full article that I will link below for more details, but the bottom line is that Jojo and her mother allegedly created a toxic environment for young kids, pushed a child to work when she was clearly unwell, and made them work long hours even after the show was over, making them create TikToks and social media content with no compensation apart from a $500 prize for the most viewed TikTok of the week amongst them. It all points to the very same kind of exploitation that ex-Dance Mums cast members have spoken of, and it's sad for a lot of people who watched Jojo being bullied on the show when she was a young child to hear that she has grown up to do the very same to other children. But this is also on Jojo's mum. We can't just blame Jojo. If her mother pushes and overworks these children, it makes you wonder if Jojo was also pushed in this way to achieve her stardom. On Dance Mums, it was easy to blame Abby Lee Miller for all of the bullying, overworking, and trauma without looking to the caregivers who put their children in that position in the first place. Whenever a mother would question pulling her child out of the show, they would often say that the show was just too good an opportunity to pull their daughter out of it. It's clear that Jojo's mum is still heavily involved in her career as a manager, and I'm not saying Jojo should get a free pass for treating children this way, but I am saying that there are a lot of layers of stage mum and dance mum at play here, and it seems like Jojo may be repeating the patterns of abuse that she faced as a child. It's clear from watching Dance Mums that Jojo has perpetually been in environments where adults have behaved in abusive and aggressive ways throughout her childhood, and so when she was given the opportunity to host her own show, it doesn't surprise me that she ended up mimicking the behavior of the people that she credits as giving her success. If aggression has got her to where she is, she's going to think that abuse is the only way to stardom, and it's so common in the entertainment industry for young people to be taken advantage of and verbally abused. This isn't to excuse her behavior, but there is a clear reason why this might be happening, and hopefully she'll one day be able to break this cycle of abuse rather than perpetuate it. And so now we get to Jojo's bad girl era. Her new look, new adult-themed song and music video, an overall hard pivot from the Jojo Siwa brand that young kids knew and loved for so long. On the 5th of April 2024, Jojo released the music video for her new single Karma and debuted her look alongside it, and the internet lapped it up. Let's talk about the look first. She says that it's her bad girl era, and a lot of people are making fun of this Kiss-esque look. Her fashion has always been a bit over the top, glittery, loud, and questionable. and this is just the exact same, but in black. She's gone from regular Claire's accessories to Halloween Claire's accessories, and yes, it's bad, yes, it's cringe, but if we're gonna criticize Jojo Siwa, let it not be for her hair and outfits. I mean, Jojo has always made outlandish hair and outfit choices, and painted her face. I think there are things that we can rightfully criticize Jojo for, but it often does get drowned out by people cringing at her, and during my research for this video, I found a lot of clips of Jojo talking about how bullied she's been online since the very start of her career. Even before all of this, she was getting death threats and had to turn off her Instagram comments for a while. She even spoke about how regularly people drive by her house and shout insults at her.
People will drive by the house actually and shout out very mean things, and I always come up with the funniest comebacks.
Does it hurt though? Does it ever really get to you?
I mean, it can be hard and it hurts, but as a person, you want people to be nice, and you're never, ever gonna please everybody.
And she has been primed for this lifestyle since she was 2 years old by her mother, who has been by her side as a momager through it all. And honestly, with the life she's lived, I'm surprised that she hasn't gone more off the rails. So that being said, let's talk about why people are angry at Jojo beyond the initial cringe. The first point of contention is this clip that's going around of an interview that she did with Billboard, where Jojo says that she is inventing gay pop.
I said it back in the day when I first signed with Columbia. I said I wanted to start a new genre of music, and they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, it's like K-pop, right? But it's gay pop.
I think that this is rage bait, and she knows it. Jojo has been dressing as Elton John for years. She knows that gay pop exists. I think she likes trolling and getting a reaction from people, and nothing about this new song that she's dropped has been invented. In fact, the song was originally recorded in 2012 by Britt Smith, and the previously unreleased music video has gone viral, with people saying that they prefer Britt's version from 12 years ago. The song was scrapped for Britt and was never released, and it was actually first written in 2010 for Miley Cyrus before being passed on to Britt after Miley passed on it. This doesn't mean that Jojo stole it. Her label just took the song that had been written but not released and then re-recorded it for Jojo. But to claim that you are creating a genre of pop and putting such heavy emphasis on reinventing yourself with a song that you didn't write at all comes across as pretty phony and insincere. I think this is what Jojo Siwa always wanted, or at least what she wanted when she was 9 years old, because she was primed by her mother to be a child star. Her mother dyed her hair blonde, put it in a high ponytail with a bow, and that was her look for 10 years, and it made them both rich beyond belief. But now that era is over. She's been a child star, she's lived out the fantasy, and now she has the rest of her life ahead of her, and she doesn't know what to do to be taken seriously by an industry that has known her for so long as a kid's entertainer. She wanted to have a dramatic Miley Cyrus moment, and she got that, and to be honest, it seems like she's happy with the way that this has gone for her, because as much as people don't like it, they're talking about it. I'm making a video about it. She's one, if not the most talked about person online in the past 2 weeks, and she seems to understand this as a child of the internet.
Why do you think people on the internet have such strong opinions about you?
Because it's fun to. It is fun. It is fun for them. My mom told me, she said, I love you more than anyone in the world. I will not open your comments and comment. She said, so for somebody to open your comments and comment, they're enjoying it. It's fun for them. I am also guilty of when everyone was saying Trisha Paytas was pregnant with the reincarnated queen. I made a TikTok about it because it was hysterical. And then like everyone, I was the one that went down in flames for it. Like everyone was doing it. I was the one that went down in flames for it, which fine. Like, yes, it probably was a joke that I shouldn't have made. But like, again, everyone was doing it. Jumped on the bandwagon. Shouldn't have. But I've jumped on those bandwagons too before. And so
I think there's just so much going on with Jojo Siwa. It makes sense that her behavior is outlandish and a bit immature. She's had a crazy childhood. Since she was just 2 years old, she's been dancing in competitions, bleaching her hair, being turned into the perfect little marketable child star, and I'm surprised that she hasn't gone more off the rails, to be honest. She may be 20 years old, but she's still so young. She can't even legally drink yet, and honestly, my prediction is that in a few years, she will have a real bad girl era and go actually wild, because who wouldn't if this was your childhood?
She deserves nothing. Don't have an attitude that you are entitled in this world. You are not. You deserve nothing else. You earn it. You can't stand here and cry. I want no crying children. None.
Well, if you yell at me, I'm gonna cry.
Get out. Go.
Okay.
Go.
What we're seeing now is a very procured, deliberate shift in Jojo Siwa's brand that she's been planning for years. She is a brand first and therefore a commodity, and everything that she is putting out at the moment has a huge team of people behind it. Honestly, I think the real Jojo Siwa is going to come out in a few years and reveal what she's truly been thinking all along without her mother or publicist or label filtering her image. So that is my history and opinion on Jojo Siwa's controversies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. You know I love to hear them. I have, as always, been your Uncle Herman, and I will see you in my next video.